All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. We're going to do a brief assignment today, but today really should be focused on ensuring that you have turned in all of your missing assignments. As a reminder, we are about to wrap up week 6, and there are only just a few more weeks left in this grading period. You have your next major grade starting next week, and then one more the week, maybe 1 or 2 weeks after that. And then you guys have final exams, and I know that's a lot on your plate. So use today wisely to catch up because we're going to start moving forward quickly starting Thursday. All right. Yesterday, you should have read the excerpt from Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tabir. And on Monday, we talked a little bit about setting and symbolism. These are the notes that we talked about, especially particularly with colors. We talked about red, we talked about green, we talked about them in different places, right? It has more than one meaning in 3 different ways, or one color can be, many different times in one text or one movie and have different meanings, or the color could mean different things to different people depending upon where they are in their lives or their journeys. So for Ember in the Ashes, the literal title has lightness and darkness in it, right? Embers are these flickers of light that kind of are still in these ashes once they've burned. It's the embers that can reignite, okay? And so if we're talking about light, these embers are remnants of light, and ashes, of course, are darkness, right? It's the absence of light. So what I'd like for us to do today is highlight some examples of lightness and darkness throughout this entire excerpt. And I really do, of course, want us to focus symbolically, but even physically would work. And so what I would do if I were you is right underneath here, I would write the word lightness, and then maybe, a couple of tabs, and then darkness. And I would color code that for myself. Okay, so maybe for lightness, I want to use yellow, and for darkness, I'm going to use blue. Okay, so literally, embers are lightness, right? We just talked about that, and ashes would be symbolic of darkness. So if I don't know what the book is about, just thinking about lightness versus darkness, I could tell that these embers are symbolic for hope, right? In a desperate situation like ashes. And so think about that. Where are there glimmers of hope, or goodness, or maybe truth, whatever you feel lightness would symbolize, and where are there examples of darkness, whether it's literal with setting, or maybe some dark situations or dark moments. So I'm going to go through this with you for maybe the first few paragraphs, and we'll do some together, and then you'll do the rest of them on your own, okay? My big brother reaches home in the dark hours before dawn. Well, there you go. You've got dark hours before dawn. I feel like that is an example of darkness. Even when ghosts take their rest. Ghosts are symbolic of something that represents darkness, right? He smells of steel and coal and forge. He smells of the enemy. He folds his scarecrow body through the window, bare feet silent on the rushes. A hot desert wind blows in after him, rustling the limp curtains. His sketchbook falls to the floor, and he nudges it under his bunk with a quick foot, as if it's a snake. Where have you been, Darren? In my head, I have the courage to ask the question. Every night for almost 2 years. Okay, so night is symbolic of darkness. I've wanted to ask. Every night I've lacked the courage, right? So we have night again. So obviously he's coming in at night. That's an important thing. I have one sibling left. I don't want him to shut me out like everyone else has. But tonight is different. I know what's in his sketchbook, and I know what it means. So I think all of this kind of speaks to darkness. Not only is it literally darkness and setting, but there's a dark situation. You shouldn't be awake, Darren's whisper jolts me from my thoughts. He has a cat's sense for traps. I sit up on the bunk as he lights the lamp. No use pretending to be asleep. So literally, he's turning on the lights, and literally, she's going to confront him about the truth. He knows that she is not asleep, and she wants to ask him a question regarding the truth, right? It's past curfew, and 3 patrols have gone by. I was worried. I can avoid the soldiers, Leia. Lots of practice. He rests his chin on my bunk and smiles. A familiar look, the one he gives me if I wake from a nightmare or we run out of grain. Everything will be fine, the look says. So these are examples of darkness, right? Waking from a nightmare or running out of grain. He picks up the book on my bed. Gather in the Night, he reads the title. Spooky, what's it about? So obviously darkness, right? Like nighttime is darkness, but he even alludes to that with the word spooky. So you kind of get the gist, okay? There's a lot of despairing situations, not only like physically with the setting, but also you're understanding what's happening between them, what may have happened prior to this moment, right? The fact that, she only has one sibling left. That's a kind of dark situation. So think about literal and figurative, right? What situations could stand for bigger things? Sometimes it could also just be the physical setting or physically turning on things like a lamp. But turning on things like a lamp also represent finding out the truth of a situation. So work through what you can. Do as many examples as you can. I will look and see who found the most examples that were correct, and we'll talk about that. Maybe that person will get a little bit of extra credit on a major grade of their choice. We'll see. All right. So that is all you're doing today, and then spending the rest of the time working on turning in your missing assignments. And if you don't have any, I definitely want you to continue reading. I have 40 pages left in my book. This book is almost 500 pages. I'm so proud of myself. That's the second book I finished. And I'm going to go ahead and start Scythe next, or I might start the second book of the series I just started. I haven't decided yet. Or I might read both. You never know. The day is still young. All right. Have a great day, guys. We will see you on Zoom, hopefully. And if not, we'll see you tomorrow. Okay? Take care. Have a great Wednesday. Talk to you soon.